with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
There's been a major incident at a Gold Coast theme park.
Tragedy and terror on a family ride in a theme park built for fun.
One person is dead at least, potentially up to 4.
4 adults were killed when 2 rafts from the Thunder River Rapid collided.
People were trapped. Family members surrounding them were left in tears.
I think this has got to damage their reputation, and their response to this has got to be swift.
Tonight, Dreamworld is closed, desperate in the search for answers.
Accident at Action Park. Theme parks are for fun, not tragedy. Death's doom, Dreamworld. All phrases that you never want to hear as a theme park goer, would-be theme park goer, or theme park owner. Yet unfortunately, all these phrases became very real statements on October 25th, 2016, after the tragic deaths of 4 people at Dreamworld. We'll be discussing how Dreamworld can recover from its service failure, outlining the key issues and areas for improvement, suggested solutions to achieve metrics for recovery, and finally, justifying our chosen recommendation. So Dreamworld is part of the Ardent Leisure Group, a specialist operator of leisure and entertainment assets across Australia, New Zealand, and the USA. And with subsects like AMF Bowling, Whitewater World, and Sky Point Climb, they've been benefiting from the increase in domestic and international tourism thanks to the spike in annual income we've all been enjoying. Prior to the incident, Dreamworld, home to over 50 rides and attractions, had performing above and beyond its competitors. Widely considered as the biggest theme park in Australia, it owned a large share of the market until that fateful day in 2016. Now, our victims were riding the somewhat inconspicuous Thunder River Rapids when a malfunction caused the raft to hit a vacant vessel ahead. This caused the raft carrying the victims to flip, flinging them from the ride as they became trapped in the water underneath. There is a permeating perception undermining Dreamworld's safety, and with fair reason. A theme park has one underlying, unwritten, fundamental service and duty. No, and it's not a fun and magical day out with the family. It's safety. Going for a fun day at the theme park shouldn't be your last day, and the public has responded in kind. The lack of consumer confidence is evidenced in the decreasing attendance at admission to the theme park. So, what is there to be done? For more on this, let me pass you on to... Thanks, Simon. Basically, the disaster at Dreamworld was a disaster for Dreamworld. So, there are 3 main areas of improvement we can work on: equipment maintenance and upkeep, quality of staff and staff management, and our crisis management, namely transparency and genuineness. First and absolutely foremost is the maintenance and repair or replacement of equipment. Per a number of sources, Dreamworld has been less than diligent in replacing equipment unless it has had what is considered to be serious faults. The lack of replacing or maintaining equipment has resulted in a cluster of smaller incidents throughout the years. While Dreamworld maintains that the ride, and therefore the service, was up to maintenance standards, the Thunder River Rapids had not been replaced or altered since its erection in 1986. That's 30 years of usage, wear and tear, with thousands of patrons each year. It can be posited that such a long lifespan requires not only a keener eye and more rigorous maintenance, but an overhaul of the operating system and necessary functions to ensure the operable service of the ride, and therefore, by extension, the safety of the patrons who put the trust in the equipment's accuracy. Now, staff. Upon closer look at the park, while the safety of the rides and equipment is imperative, the staff operating the rides are just as vital. It has been claimed that the staff at Dreamworld receive insufficient training and are unsupervised. Not an ideal combination for those operating potentially deadly machinery. And on top of that, the staff are often young workers with little prior experience in operating heavy machinery or potential crisis and emergency situations, should one arise. The staff have been labelled as inattentive, which is also not an ideal in a role where one wrong lever could result in tragedy. Additionally, it can be suggested that Dreamworld's organic processes, meaning its set of values and cultural norms, are less than the desirable. Per several sources, Dreamworld's culture is toxic, and staff exist in a state of fear and intimidation, affecting the level of service they provide. While it could be a stretch to put forth, but if I'm a relatively young'un and my boss was going to berate me, would I be entirely forthcoming with any observations I had? Like if a ride had the potential to be operating at a dangerous state, which would then need to be shut down, which would then need to be repaired and worked on, which would then mean that no customers could use the service, which would then mean disgruntled customers, which would then mean a loss of business, which would then lead to an unhappy boss who already intimidates me. Would I mention it? Staff need to feel empowered and emotionally stable to treat customers and their jobs with the care and attention that it deserves, as well as feel encouraged to be able to approach senior staff if necessary, particularly in the event of machinery failure. Third and lastly, an area of improvement is better crisis management, communication to the public, and transparency. And as the saying goes, the public smells a rat on Dreamworld's level of safety. And not being transparent with records has significantly damaged the reputation and image of the park. Shady, arrogant, defensive, dodgy, these are all questions that can be asked to Dreamworld and with their reluctance to being open with their safety records. For more on solutions, let me pass you on to Simon. Thanks, Simon. Now allow me to talk about our 3 solutions. First off, crisis management. As previously stated, the most pressing priority for Dreamworld is to regain consumer trust and confidence in the product, that it's a safe environment. Public perception is largely influenced by the portrayal in the media, even more so after an accident garnering such national public attention and coverage. And the disaster, and its handling, was a public relations nightmare. While we are focused on the service failure, this suggested solution is referring to the recovery of Dreamworld's image due to the service failure. To alleviate any potential skepticism regarding safety records, Dreamworld should release quarterly audit measurements, satisfying those inquiring. And by doing it all off their own backs without being asked to, it will increase legitimacy and authenticity of their endeavours. In order to combat the negative attention that Dreamworld is receiving, a structured, detailed, professional public relations strategy should be deployed. This strategy is beneficial for 2 reasons. Increasing transparency between consumer and business, as well as giving Dreamworld the opportunity to influence how the crisis is managed publicly. By having policies in place that manage the media, it can ensure that if any similar incidents arrive, even on a lesser level, an action plan is in place to manage these perceptions. Solution number 2. It's also important for Dreamworld to address their staffing issues, as outlined previously. We believe a more rigorous hiring protocol is necessary to ensure that the right people with the right values and right attitude are suitable for the right roles, especially roles with potential consequences. More so, continuous training and refresher courses in any business are critical, and we believe that Dreamworld should be even more adoptive of these courses. The company must ensure that the employees are sufficiently trained before commencing work, whether that be mock simulations or shadowing another employee for a designated period of time. And when the park does update its systems, it can't just go and implement them straight away. It must ensure the proper measures are undertaken, and that includes all staff are adequately trained, even if it means delaying the update and the ride must be closed. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, stricter management of equipment and procedures is required to ensure that an accident of this magnitude is never seen again. The best way to recover from a failure is to avoid a failure altogether. Hard and fast policies of maintenance, replacement and procedures, inspections and repair, scheduled or unscheduled, is the most effective way of ensuring a safe operation, which, as stated before, is the fundamental rule of theme park management. In order to increase public perception, Dreamworld must go above and beyond the standards and regulations. It mustn't just meet them, it must set them. Providing secondary independent audits from an additional company is a great start. Just as you get a second opinion on your surgery procedures, getting a second opinion on the state of Dreamworld's equipment is imperative. Officials will go a long way to restoring the safety perceptions of Dreamworld. What did we say was essentially the only responsibility of a theme park? To provide a safe environment. Due to the severity of this service failure, the most optimal solution for recovery would be to implement strict policies regarding safety and equipment maintenance, while being enforced by governing, credible audit organisations to verify the safety measures, and thus amending the confidence and satisfaction with the theme park visitors. The safety and maintenance regulations and protocols will play a major role in allowing the consumers to regain their confidence in this service. The strict nature of this recovery process will in turn instill a sense of trust within their consumers, increasing satisfaction and loyalty. Dreamworld must satisfy the consumer's view of distributive justice, the outcome of the recovery, procedural justice, how the recovery process works, and interaction justice, how the customers are treated. These areas combined will determine the overall satisfaction of the consumer. Dreamworld needs to position their brand around a clear set of values surrounding safety and a strong promise linked to maintaining and exceeding safety expectations. An independent audit will be paramount in shaping consumers' perceptions and ensuring that safety standards are met and exceeded. Over time, this will result in consumers regaining confidence in the park and its quality and safety standards. While you can have 100 years of great service, you will always be remembered for your one day of bad service, especially if it resulted in a tragedy. So by implementing safety and maintenance protocols will allow for a scalable retention of consumers, indicating stronger consumer satisfaction. So there you have it. No longer will we hear tragedy tackles theme parks or deaths doom Dreamworld. Not if you take on our areas of improvement, suggested and recommended solutions. Your day at Dreamworld shouldn't be your last. Families can now let their imagination play without wondering if they're safe. So I'm Simon, and we'll see you at Dreamworld.